Kore has always been one of the most beautiful goddesses in Olympia, besides Aphrodite, of course, and her beauty was not unnoticed. As the daughter of Zeus and Demeter, she was very protected. Demeter would not let any of the men near her. The men came to her, they said all the right things, but Kore knew better. She does not need her mother to understand that these men will only lie with her and then be bored. Kore does not want to become just another possession to another person. She has offers, but she wants to be her own before she's again someone else's. Kore is sitting in the field of flowers she crafted from her hands, feeling the breeze on her skin and living in her boring bliss. "I'm sorry you can't be alone," said one of the daughters of Oceanus. "My mother does not want to let me out of her sight, and I should not reject this spring that embraces me," she concedes. "No," she says finally, "but all of Olympus can see you desperately want to leave." Kore knows that her mother protects her out of love, though she wishes for just a taste of freedom. The only way to get away from her mother would be to separate from her forever. But there is no god that would be willing to face the power of Demeter at the sake of refuge. Kore and her mother were connected like no other. Demeter, goddess of the fruits and flowers and bountiful harvest, had her hold on Kore. "Kore," she says shyly, "just remember that you are the goddess of spring. You are born from Demeter, but you are also born of death." She knew what she had to do. Throwing back her skirt and discarding her roses, violets, and irises, she dug her hands into the fertile earth she made and pulled it apart. She dug her way down to the underworld, the realm of Hades. She did it so fast and quietly no one saw, and her mother was oblivious. It made her very weak, so much so that by the time she landed before the throne of Hades, she was too weak to stand and explain herself. Instead of being furious that a goddess, very much alive, broke into his world, he carried her to a room and let her rest. He knew of the beautiful Kore. Zeus had spoken to him many times about the possibilities of marriage, but Demeter never allowed it. The maiden was as much of a marvel to Hades as her flowers were for the rest of the world. Demeter then realized that her beloved Kore was gone. She was seized with pain and despair and cried out to Zeus and every other god for help. She traveled every realm and searched every plane, but no one would answer her as to where her beautiful daughter had gone. No one except Hecate. "Lady Demeter, bringer of seasons, I know where Kore has gone." Hecate came closer. "I was deep within the forest, so she could not know I was there. She had fallen into the underworld, seized by Hades. She has gone into the darkness." Demeter was filled with rage and even greater sorrow. She sank to the ground and stayed lying there, filled with despair for her daughter, whom she thought was abducted. She stopped fulfilling her duties, and the mortals had horrible plagues and empty harvests. The land did not grow, and the animals were dying. Zeus, seeing the destruction Demeter was causing, and knowing where Kore was, sent Hermes to Hades. Hermes approached. "Hades, Demeter is sending people to you in floods. This wave of death is from her." He got right to the point. "You need to send Kore back to the light." "I cannot," he said. "She came to me. Anyone desperate enough to seek refuge with me is someone I must at least try to protect. She is Kore, the beautiful fair daughter of Demeter. I do not want to send her back. Demeter is welcome to come to me." "My mother will not come to you, Hades. She is powerless here, where there is no life." Kore walked beside Hades. "She is dangerous. She will wipe out the human race in spite." Hermes was pleading. "For now there is nothing I can do," said Hades, and off Hermes went. After a full year of death and barrenness for the mortals, Kore agreed to go to her mother. Hermes took her to Demeter, who still sat in sorrow and despair.